அரங்கம் அதிரட்டுமே, விசில் பறக்கட்டுமே, now கரங்கள் ஒசரட்டுமே, take over ஒட்டுமொத்தமே now. குலி பவர் ஹவுஸே, என்னைக்கும் குறையாத மவுஸே.
Namaste everyone and welcome to Voices of Tomorrow. I am your host Chetan, and today we are diving into a conversation that is as old as our civilization, yet as urgent as today's headlines. Religion, caste and social discrimination in India. We'll be diving into a topic that shapes the very soul of our country: religion, caste and social discrimination. We are going to unpack its history, present challenges, personal stories, and most importantly, how we can reimagine an India without these divides. With me are three people who bring unique perspectives. Vishnu, who has been deeply involved in community service, Narendra, who has studied social history, and Sumant, who has personal experiences navigating these challenges in modern India. Before we get into debates, I want each of you to describe in your own words what you think discrimination looks like in today's India. Is it mostly obvious or has it gone underground? Vishnu, please start.
So discrimination today is like an iceberg. Only a small part is visible. Yes, we still see incidents where someone is refused entry to a temple or a certain area. But the larger part is invisible. In hiring decisions, in housing, in subtle everyday language. I have seen cases where people say we are all equal, but then still prefer to rent their flat only to certain caste. Or in job interviews, a surname can quietly decide whether you get shortlisted. So these aren't headline making events, but they shape the life opportunity of millions. So further, Narendra will inform you.
I agree. What's scary in this? Subtle biases are often passed on unconsciously. Parents advising their children who they should be friends with or marry. Even in elite urban spaces, caste and religious can become filters, often discussed as culture fit or shared values. Sumant will continue.
And when religion and caste mix with politics, the discrimination gains legitimacy in people's minds. Suddenly, it's not just personal bias, it's part of political identity. Next, Chetan will take over.
Okay, that's a great thing. Vishnu, let's dig into the roots. Where did these divisions come from historically, and have we misunderstood their original purpose?
Historically, the Varna system wasn't about birth, but about function. Priests, warriors, merchants, and service providers. Over centuries, it became rigid, and power structures fossilized it into birth-based hierarchy. So religion too wasn't meant to divide. It was meant to guide people towards morality and community well-being. But as kingdoms rose and fell, rulers used religion and caste as tools of control. So what we see today is in tradition. It's centuries of political manipulation. Reformers like Baswanna, Kabir, and Narayana Guru all challenged this, proving that equality was always a part of our spiritual DNA.
Narendra, when we look at India today, where do you see religion and caste clashing most? In rural areas or urban spaces, workplaces or politics? What do you think?
Yes, Chetan, it's everywhere, but in different forms. In rural India, caste can literally decide whether you get water from a certain well. In cities, you might share a coffee table with people from all backgrounds. But it comes to marriage or housing lines reappear. In politics, the game is even more strategic. Leaders appeal to religious or caste identities to build vote banks. This isn't not just about food. It's about excluding communities, often Muslims or Dalits, under a polite excuse.
Very true. Sumant, I know you have had personal experiences dealing with these issues. Can you share a story where you either faced or witnessed discrimination and what was your response to that?
Yes, Chetan. Back in college, one of my closest friends came from a so-called lower caste until he applied for a student leadership role. No one cared. Suddenly, a few people whispered, "Should he represent us?" The thing is, he was the most capable among us. I decided to speak up during the selection meeting, not by shaming anyone, but by pointing to his actual contributions. The events he organized, the funds he raised, he won. That moment taught me that silence is also a form of discrimination. If you witness bias and do nothing, you are the part of problem.
Now comes the interesting part. We have spoken about problems. Now let's talk about solutions. If you were given the power to make one immediate change in India to tackle caste and religious discrimination, what would it be? Vishnu, please take over.
So, Chetan, I would obviously tell that I would start with education, not just in textbooks, but active cultural exchange programs, students from different states, castes, and religions living together for a year.
Yes, Chetan. I would reform housing and employment laws. Make it illegal to discriminate based on name, surname, or dietary habits.
Even I'd focus on media representation. When kids grow up seeing only certain communities as heroes and others as villains, stereotypes become permanent.
Do you guys think reservation policies have solved discrimination or created new divisions?
It's a lifeline for those historically denied opportunities, but it needs to be targeted better.
And it's necessary now, but should be reviewed every 20 years to match current realities.
Yes, it's not the policy that's the problem, it's the stigma around it.
Okay, let's imagine India in the year 2040. What does a discrimination-free India look like, and how do we get there?
So, first, let us talk about merit based opportunities and interfaith harmony.
And also, let's talk about technology breaking barriers, online learning, AI earning without bias.
Talks about grassroots movements where young people lead change.
We've had an intense and insightful conversation today. Before we sign off, I want each of you to share one personal commitment, one thing you promise to do to help build a future India free from caste and religious discrimination. Vishnu, you start.
My pledge is simple. Whenever I see discrimination, whether subtle or overt, I will speak up, even if it's uncomfortable. Silence allows prejudice to grow. I will also actively mentor young people from marginalized communities to help them access opportunities.
I commit to fostering friendships across all communities. Prejudice often stems from ignorance or fear of the other. By building genuine relationships with people from different castes and religions, I believe we can break down barriers and create empathy.
My pledge is for me, education is the key. I pledge to volunteer in initiatives that provide quality education to underprivileged kids and promote curricula that celebrate Indian diversity. Knowledge is the most powerful tool against discrimination.
And finally, my commitment is to use every platform I have to amplify voices fighting for equality and to encourage conversations honest, respectful, and persistent. Thank you all for being part of this journey today. And to our listeners, the future is ours to shape. So let's make it inclusive, just, and united. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate. Thank you all.